What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna try out Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Now, we're not gonna bother with like very high and like the highest ray tracing or anything like that. I say we hop in, do high with some ray tracing, maybe not the highest, but like one step down from the highest. It probably won't work well, but we'll try that with some upscaling and all that good stuff. Then we'll turn ray tracing off and just do high and see how that does, both native and upscaled. And then if I feel like it needs it, I'll do my settings too. So far, nothing I really felt needed it. The small form factor handled it so well, just at base settings, like just with a little help from upscaling. I was like, nah, that's good. And everything else was under the minimum spec. So this will be the first one that's kind of like in between minimum and recommended. So why don't we stop blabbing? Let's go find out. Well, I have to wait, but luckily you guys don't. Well, all right. First off, we'll try native. We'll even try a little ray tracing, even though it's a little silly. Although, we're not gonna get no 60 like this. But some people don't care about 60. I think we at least stay over 30. In this area, anyway. But alright, why don't we hop in, see what it can do, and then we'll try some upscaling.
Let's head home before it gets dark. I feel that. Damn shaky.
So now let's try some quality upscaling. Otherwise, leaving everything else the same. But alrighty, back to the game.
Easy does it. Sorry, kid. head home before it gets dark. Feel that. Damn shaky.
So now we're gonna go back to native for a second. We're gonna turn the ray tracing off, and we're just gonna try high settings. And it does an alright job. Still can't stay over 60 the whole time though, unfortunately. Either way, let's get to the game.
Easy does it. Sorry, kid. Let's head home before it gets dark. I feel that. Damn shaky.
Now we'll try with some upscaling. And it did 60 plus sometimes, but did fall under other times. So, does alright for what it is, but I don't think you're really going to get 60 plus on the system unless you like drop the settings to like medium and low, and it's not going to look very good, and it'll still probably drop under 60 at points. That's what I thought anyway, so I figured might as well just leave it like this, and it's a nice medium of frames and graphics. But why don't we hop into the game? Let's see what it can do.
Let's head home before it gets dark. Feel that. Pretty damn shaky. Here we go.
Alright, let's get some camera recorded gameplay, and I figured we'd also check out the crazy fast load times. And I was going to do my settings, but I messed with it a little bit, and just running it like this seems to run best. It's probably CPU bottleneck, would be my guess. Lowering the settings doesn't help, and that's probably what's going on. But at the same time, if I raised anything too much more, I did start losing FPS, so it seems like this is just a great middle ground. Just quality upscaling, and then high settings. It probably will still drop under 60 at times, almost guaranteed. But at the same time, I think like 90-something% of the time, probably 97, 98% of the time, you're going to be at 60+. But I'm betting during those intense battles, that's probably where it's going to drop. Although there might be some crazier terrain later that's just like, oh my god, we're at 30 FPS. Haven't gone through the whole game, wouldn't be able to tell you for sure. That's why I don't like making promises one way or the other. This is the kind of game where you're running for quite a while before you get anywhere. At least the first one was like that. I'm assuming this one probably will be too. Or it'll put me in a cave or something like that, which would not be good for FPS. So I figured this is a great repeatable test. I can repeat on every single system, and I can always go further into the game later if people would like to see that. Hell, I never even got into a battle, I don't think, in the first game when I tested it either. I found some stuff that, like, wanted to do battle, but I didn't know what to do, so I just ran away like a pussy. There was some weird shark thing. That's like weird as shit.
Let's head home before it gets dark.
Yeah, I don't want to be around this, whatever the heck. Those look like gigantic tarantulas down there. I have no idea what it actually is, but I don't want to go anywhere near to find out.
I feel that. Damn shaky. Okay, you're all right.
Yeah, it's kind of amusing. You do this like at the right speed, amusing, fun for baby. Do it too fast, bad baby. Probably dead baby. Or brain damage baby, not good.
Let's go home and get you fed.
And of course, we lost some performance from not having a luck switch now that we're not attached to the capture computer, which acts like being on an external monitor. Even then, I think we dropped to 59 for like a split second there so far. Other than that, I think we've all been on 60 the whole time. But that's what makes me think, yeah, there's going to be times where we probably will drop. But this is still doing pretty good considering it's a frickin' quite an old laptop at this point. 1440p, you'd probably have to use some more aggressive upscaling, but you'd probably use the same setting. You'd probably have to just use balance to performance upscaling. And then that'd probably bring it right back down to 1080p, and then you'd probably get about the same FPS I'm getting here. I wish I could test that out. I should have gotten a 1440p or a 4K screen, so I could just use that and test out all sorts of different resolutions. But I was thinking, hey, let's get one for those other computers I got. 1080p seems to be a great resolution for them. Although that 3080 can handle 1440p in a lot of circumstances. Just like this thing can in a lot, just not in the newer games anymore, really. Not without lots of help from upscaling. And it's not really 1440 anymore.
Right. Gonna move.
I've already got to use it here. That's why I'm kind of happy I went with this one. Yeah, great frame times and all that stuff too. I've been seeing like giant stutters really. The Xbox Ally X had some little tiny hiccups, but nothing that would be like, oh my god, this is unplayable, or anything like that. Although I think the very low refresh rate screen helped out a lot. So far, the only system I've had that was just completely unplayable was the Steam Deck. And even that was close to playable, but no cigar. It was dropping down into the 20s already here. So imagine getting into a fight, it would be in the, like the teens, probably in the low 20s. I don't think too many people want to play like that. Probably some people could, but I don't think too many people want to, no. Versus this is completely viable. I could play like this no problem if this is my own system. Wouldn't even piss me off. I'd turn the frame rate counter off and just sit back and enjoy. I would never have in a million years guessed that dropped down to 59 FPS right there. The kind of game it is where you're just kind of like jaunting along. Uh-oh, I think I made a misstep again. I don't want to lose a step, friend. This is treacherous. I'm being absolutely foolish. Hope I did it again. How do I keep going down the wrong side all of a sudden? I got myself into going the wrong damn way. Well, regardless, it's time to wrap up anyway. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Death Stranding 2 on the beach, and seemed to run well enough. I wish I could still test 1440p out for you guys too, because if it's just CPU bottlenecked, then we'd probably actually get about the same FPS, you know? But if it's not really that CPU bottlenecked, then it'd be tough to get 60. At 1440 with the same high settings anyway, because lowering settings didn't really help. That's why I figured I'd maybe set some stuff to medium, maybe try to put balanced upscaling, this, that, and the other thing, but no. I was just running around the same spot, like after making the baby stop crying, so I didn't have to listen to it cry the whole time I was running around in that same area, but FPS was not really being any different. I brought up the video recording of the same settings I just did in the background, and I was like, yeah, no, this is like identical. I can't tell the difference, other than it looking worse. So I was like, nope. We'll just go with the high settings with the quality upscaling, and that's how I'd play. And that's how I would play with this thing. But anyway, that is all for this video though. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And I still can't do a proper peace out with that hand, so we will do a left-handed peace out. And until the next video,